from omniaudio.africa.
This should be romneyaudio.africa.
Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum. Not the sports news. The words have spoken. Streaming data-free on the MTN network in South Africa. This is where Africa comes to play. That is a masterclass. On your phone, online, and on demand at omniaudio.africa.
It's mayhem.
Not the sports news.
Morning. Do you know that I could not for a second read what was on your T-shirt?
Yeah, it's my Monday shirt, Grumpy Monkey.
No, I read Grillimby. It looks like GRLIMBY.
Well, I was watching MotoGP Moto2 GP yesterday, and on the motorbikes, and one guy was sponsored by a company called Flick. F-L-I-C-K, and the L and the
I got you, because that's also
the L, the I are a bit too close together.
Yeah, Grillimby. Anyway, so you're grumpy this morning, but as a Liverpool supporter, you should not be, because I think in Randburg somewhere yesterday afternoon, like I heard you. You
would have heard, yes.
Yeah.
I may have sung to the angels, to Virgil van Dijk, who's a god of man, who's a god among men, who is the Gabriel of angels. Basically, yeah. So Liverpool win yesterday, and then there was obviously The Reckoning. Rory McIlroy, he's been reading a book called The Reckoning, written by John Grimsby. He's only got to chapter 6.
Not Grillimby.
Liverpool Chiefs shocking dance. What is going on?
Oh my gosh! Yesterday I had no idea what was going on, but I mean, I know that Coach Nabi did come out and Cardoso. They had plans how they were going to obviously take each other on in this epic semi, because who was going to join Pirates, who beat Gallant? So I'm sure Pirates were watching and waiting. But by now we all know that it is going to be that Soweto Derby final out on the 10th of May, Peter Mokaba
And the first one in, 12 years or something?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It's absolutely epic. Kaizer Chiefs get home ground advantage, so they obviously get to decide, what jersey they're going to wear, etc. But it's not what I expected from a Mamelodi Sundowns going into a Club World Cup. I'm a little concerned. But then also you take a look at just the... we talk about this all the time, Kev. It's like, take a look at the how often they play, where they have to be. They were in Tunisia the other day. They back literally for a day. They're back in camp the next day, and it's just go.
Exactly, It's hard work.
It is, but wherever they are, they're not happy with themselves today. They're not. But for Chiefs, I mean, okay, guys, let's also not get too excited, Kaizer Chiefs supporters, because at the end of the day, you still need to beat Pirates, who are actually league contenders today, who gave Sundowns also a bit of a run for their money, thinking that perhaps they take it. So, Chiefs, you haven't won anything. Sit down. The final has not been played. But, Kev, it was amazing to watch.
Well,
it was.
Yeah, the Bulls have been in a long camp in Europe, so they are still staying. They base themselves in France.
Flawless.
Lost their quarterfinal against Lyon on the weekend. They got against Edinburgh. They didn't start. Basically, they conceded 14 points in the first 10 minutes. They were awful. So that's the first of the quarterfinals. They got another. I think it's the URC quarterfinal next week, and they're staying in Europe for that. So let's hope. And then Oscar Piastri, the Australian, in Bahrain. And Bahrain, they actually own McLaren, his car. Absolutely walloped. This is only a 50th start, his 4th Grand Prix win. So good for him. And then Akini Simbini, the fastest man in Africa, fastest man in the world. So the fastest man in the world this year.
How old is he? 31?
34. I think he's still a little older, 31, 32.
Okay,
Yeah. So he's flying. So good for him.
Like the next Usain.
Yeah, and there's a kid called Gaukau from Australia. Obviously, I think he's from Senegalese heritage. And he's also, at the age of 19, is breaking 10-second barriers and breaking Australian records.
I love this new generation that is stepping up. It's absolutely amazing.
Next Olympics is going to be amazing.
Like a Prudence Ekhodiso, for example.
Yeah.
I'm really loving the work that is being done. And they happen to just be edging out what the generation before them kind of put together. So I'm liking that. Mtokozisi Dube of the Far Post chats to us as well. We've got Royal AM to fling at him. What is happening there?
Yeah.
We've got Coach Rulani Mokoena. Things are not looking too great for him. I'm even short of saying coming home, but that's just me getting ahead of myself.
He's coming home.
Tell the world. And obviously it is that Nedbank Cup final. Did him to see it in his crystal ball that it was going to be a Soweto derby. So that coming up a little later in the show.
So talk about doing things the hard way. Rory McIlroy, I mean, I was up until 1:24 this morning.
You're crazy.
I'm shattered. But I mean, Rory basically said, when I was a kid growing up in Northern Ireland, when we used to drive from Newton Ards to pick up my mother in Newton Ards, it's Newtown Ards. It's Newtown Ards, but it's Newton Ards.
Okay.
And we used to drive past to Belfast. We used to drive past called Holyfield. And that is where Rory grew up, at the Holyfield Golf Club. And apparently the celebrations there, and they'd actually stopped selling beer 2 hours before because of the British licensing laws. So there were no beers there, but they stayed there until 12:30.
Because this was the one that evaded him, right?
Well, this was his Grand Slam.
The one, yeah.
Well, it's the one basically that pushes them into the parameters of being one of the greats. So there's only a handful: Tiger, Gene Sarazen, Ben Hogan, Jack Nicklaus, and Gary Player. And the fact that group is so small, it makes him a great. But he didn't make it easy, man. So had a really crappy first day. You know, was doing well, double bogey. Then second day, 66. The second day, also flying. He's leading by 3 or 4. Into the last day, double bogey on the first. Said he was nervous. And then eventually, Justin Rose, who'd been leading the first day, come from behind with a great 66, I think it was. One hole playoff at the 18th. Rory goes for it. Justin misses his putt. Rory hits his putt. And Rory was asked, well, how do you want to do the press conference? What do you want to talk about next year? This is what he had to say to the media. And I love this answer.
I'd like to start this press conference with a question myself. What are we all going to talk about next year? It's a dream come true. I've dreamt about that moment for as long as I can remember. I mentioned it out in the prize ceremony, but watching Tiger here in 1997 do what he did and winning his first green jacket, I think that inspired so many of my generation to want to emulate what he did. And there were points in my career where I didn't know if I would have this nice garment over my shoulders, but I didn't make it easy today. I certainly didn't make it easy. I was nervous. It was one of the toughest days I've ever had on the golf course. In a funny way, I feel like the double bogey at the first sort of settled my nerves. And it's funny, walking to the second tee, the first thing that popped into my head was John Rahm a couple of years ago making double and going on to win. So, at least my mind was in the right place and was at least thinking positively about it. But just a complete roller coaster of a day. It was very tricky out there. It almost felt more like a US Open than a Masters at some points, just with how firm and fast the greens got. But just really proud of how I bounced back from from the double on 1, from the double on 13. I don't know if any Masters champions had 4 doubles during the week, but
yeah, 4 double bogeys during the week, and he's Masters champion, and he didn't pee in the lake. So it was
Thank goodness for some good etiquette at least.
I mean, it's 11 years since his last Open, and he's only 34. I mean, so he is a great. Rory McIlroy, Northern Ireland.
Wherever he is a happy man this morning.
He is.
I can tell you also happy.
Who?
Very happy.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Why?
Because to them it's like they almost won the Nedbank Cup, but they're only through to the final. And you should have seen Coach Nabi by the time that cross comes in for Dupree and he finds himself in the right spot and he scores, right?
You need to keep quiet. We're talking among young adults here, Claire.
Anyway,
Pirates fans are later.
The point I was trying to make is... what did
you were
say?
talking about Nabi celebrating.
No, he
is
wanted
the final
to cry. He wanted to cry. He wanted to
cry.
burst into tears, actually. He just stood there and I know that this poor coach has been under scrutiny. Chiefs have not been doing well. How many times have I said they've made the wrong choice? Please call Benny. And I think they wanted it more. They were a little bit more hungry for it. It was like, come the end of the season, can we just have something that we can hold on to, And then it was also really nice to see the Mataung siblings all huddled together. I saw Jess, I saw Kimmy, I saw Kaiser, and they were just all there in one corner waiting for this final whistle to go. And one of the Chiefs players also, it was just an emotional moment, for a team that hasn't been doing well to kind of just get that little something, a little ray of hope, man, to hold on to, because it hasn't been a great season for one of the biggest clubs in the country. Sundowns.
Every Chief has their day. But then Sundowns beat Gallants 1-0. Pirates beat Gallants 1-0 in the other semi-final at Orlando Stadium, but it should have been about 5 or 6-0 from what I saw.
Yeah, it would have been nicer had it been a bigger margin, but a win is a win at the end of the day. And also going into extra time also, I didn't feel like it needed to. I was kind of nervous that is where we're heading, especially with the Chiefs Sundowns game. But yeah, congrats. Chiefs supporters today. I see lots of flags, cars, jerseys.
Suddenly.
Yes.
They can go to work and not get laughed at.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a proud moment. It's let me dust this off. Let me wear it again because maybe, just maybe, come the final, maybe Chiefs take it, maybe they don't. I just think it's going to be the toughest game ever because Pirates' final dance with their coach, they're going to want to take it all the way.
Yeah.
Just as a thank you to him, as a tribute to him, what a nice way to round it all off. But then again, on the day, who wants it better? Who wants it more? Who's hungrier? And yeah.
Liverpool definitely hungry. So 2-1 was a great result on the weekend for all sorts of players. So Arne Slot was saying Liverpool's only focus now is actually the next 2 games. Not worried about Virgil van Dijk's upcoming contract negotiations, which I think he's going to announce this week.
Okay.
So Virgil van Dijk, between Liverpool scored all the goals. So Luis Diaz got the first one, and then Andy Robertson scored the goal for West Ham after Van Dijk had basically tried to clear it and hit it against him and went for an own goal. And then, of course, Virgil van Dijk comes up and wins. Arne Slot was asked, Virgil van Dijk contract, it was Mo Salah's week last week. Is it your week this week?
Put the word quite out of this sentence. It was a big relief. Because Ali made sure that they didn't score earlier. They had multiple chances to score the 1-1 in the second half. Unfortunately, they scored one, which they didn't score, but we scored.
Yeah, we scored it. And Virgil was asked, are you and Robbo still talking to each other?
So as your first question, have you and Robbo made up? Always. Me and Robbo are like brothers. We obviously been together through everything, and this is also part of the game, and luckily we got the win.
How did that feel when that hit the net?
Beautiful. Obviously, for multiple reasons. It's the winner, of course. It's quite late in the game, but a set piece, and we have been struggling a little bit with scoring goals in set pieces, and that's obviously something that I feel a lot of responsibility for. But we work on it a lot, and today we got one.
Is that the mark of a team that's about to win a title, when it's maybe not going for you, but you can respond almost at will, almost just when you need to?
I think obviously when the equalizer went in, I looked at the time, I think we still had 5 or 6 minutes with injury time, I think. So there is still time to make it right, and we got it done. We got the 3 points, and now we just move on, take what we did well, especially in the first half, and focus on Leicester this week.
Off the field this week, it's been about Mo Salah. Today on the field, it's about Virgil van Dijk.
It was about the Osbro anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main thing today. I think remembrance of all the victims. That's the main thing.
But when is it going to be your week announcement-wise? Do we know yet?
I don't know. I know, but I don't know.
Thanks, Virgil.
I don't know.
6 points clear, right? Well, not 6 points clear.
13 points clear.
13 points
we
clear.
need 6 more
6
points to win.
correct.
6 points from 5 games, I think it is now. It's tight. So game coming up against Leicester, that should be 3 points, but you never know in these situations. He also spoke about it was the memorial for the Hillsborough disaster. 97 people died. Justice for the 97. Still an ongoing thing. I still remember 1989, sitting with a friend watching and we're going, what's happening? And you just watch the scene unfold. And I've read Bruce Kobler's book about it, and that day was
Horrific,
heartbreaking.
yeah.
So it seems that this week in April we've had the 40 die at Ellis Park. We've had the 97 die at Hillsborough. It's a reminder of that. What we do in terms of getting fans into the stadium, out of the stadium, is equivocally the most important thing we do for fans.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. And I mean, what is football without the fans?
Exactly.
Think about it. So, yeah, tough one there.
Yeah, very
difficult
tough.
one, heartbreaking. But many years on, let's hope,
Yeah.
that we continue to do more to ensure the safety of fans who go into stadia. Anyway, Akani Simbine, as we said, fastest man now, African king of sprinting, world lead time in the 100 meters there for him at the Botswana Golden Grand Prix meeting. It happened on Saturday. He was well clear of the Kenyan Ferdinand Omanyala with about 10 meters to go, a body length ahead, literally, and finished with a superb 9.90. The fastest time in the yellow world.
And the only person who's behind him is Bayande Walaza, who's 9.99. So, and he's running into the headwind as well. So, if he's doing this, and this is the beginning of his season, so
With
he's
the headwind, remember what he could do with the tailwind.
yeah. Well, as long as it's a legal tailwind. But I mean, if he's running like this at the beginning of the season, going in the SA Champs are coming up, he's going to be flying.
Yeah. And then he's going to pull in now to make sure that this is free and fair. WADA.
Of course they are. But any luck. Coming up after the break, speaking in Tomto and deep dive into Sundowns and Chiefs.
Sundowns Chiefs, Royal AM, Rulani Mokoena, and if he's
Pirates,
heading home.
yeah, everything.
Alice.
This is Omnisport Africa. We are putting African sport first. Live and on demand on your phone. Data free on the MTN network in South Africa. T's and C's apply. And online at omniaudio.africa. Because reading about it tomorrow won't help you today. When we created Omnisport, we wanted you to hear from Africa's greatest sports journalists. In South Africa, there was only one choice.
No big deal.
Omnisport proudly presents Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes.
Whatever that Chiefs can do, it would seem Mamelodi Sundowns can do better.
With over 3 decades as one of South Africa's most talented, decorated, and astute soccer journalists, Brad Jakes is the man the players, coaches, team owners, and officials listen to.
This is a brave man.
Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes, exclusive to Omnisport, where Africa comes to play.
Now that's a garage match.
Listen live now and on demand at OmniAudio.
Ntokozisi Dube now joins us to chat all things football, especially here at home. To a warm welcome. Good to have you, but I want to know if you, like me, thought that yesterday's semi between Sundowns and Chiefs was pretty much a given as to who was going to win, because they always win.
Yeah, good morning, Romy, and morning to the listeners. Look, I don't think many people gave Kaizer Chiefs a chance, me included. Looking at the lineup, I think it didn't look really good. With so many injuries, Miguel Inacio, who's been a pillar in their shaky defense. Miguel was not there for the first time, I think, this season, because of an injury. It didn't look really good. On the other hand, Sundowns had 8 internationals in their starting line. You could see they wanted to win the game at all costs. So I personally didn't give Kaizer Chiefs a chance.
I didn't either, but it is what it is. And do you think that this is what the team really needs? I mean, in a way, I feel for them, just something to hold on to as we near the end of the season with this final cup competition as well, rounding off the season that was.
Look, Kaizer Chiefs desperately needed this more than anyone. They've not won a trophy. If they don't win the Nedbank, it would be 10 years without a trophy. So, and also the coach being under pressure, I think he needed that win just
But is he under pressure? He's under pressure, obviously, to get the results and all. But then again, Bob Stay came out to say, oh no, we're in the rebuilding phase. But there's got to be pressure. For me, pressure almost to move him out, in my opinion.
He's under a lot of pressure. I mean, that's the honest truth. Under a lot of pressure because he's a coach who wants to play a certain way. He's tried playing that way, dominant football, possession-based football with flying wingers, but he doesn't have the quality to play that kind of game. So it puts him under a lot of pressure because this team doesn't score goals. When I look back to his teams in the past, for example, Young Africans, where he had the number 10, Faisal Saloom, who scores at least 19 goals in a season, Stefan Aziz Ki scores 21 goals in a season. So he's coming to a team where the midfielders don't score, the strikers don't score, the top goal scorer is sitting on 5 goals in all competitions. So that's not good enough. When you look at where Chiefs are on the table, he's a coach that's used to winning trophies and challenging for titles. But he's actually in 8th place on the league table. That's a lot of pressure, honestly.
It is a lot of pressure. That's why I said so much pressure, in my opinion, that perhaps it is time for a change. But that's just me. I'm just really sitting on the sidelines, having a strong opinion about it. Let's travel now to, I guess, inside the boardrooms of the PSL, because I don't think there's anything official that says, look, thank you and goodbye, Royal AM.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I think there was obviously a meeting on Thursday where the Board of Governors, which is the 31 PSL clubs, Betway Premiership and Motsepe Foundation Championship, all agreed that Royal AM have to be removed from the league. So, look, I'm sure we should start getting the details.
By when, though, Mto? By when do you think? I know we had a chat with Cash and Sport, and we were actually looking at April, if it is that they're still around the catch-up games, etc., but players have also moved on, spotted at Golden Arrows and elsewhere. So now what? Do we just sit and wait for the official sort of trigger to be pulled on Royal AM, or is it safe enough to say the BOG who sat have, reliably voted and they are out?
Yeah, look, here is my understanding. So the PSL is very comes to sponsors, right? So, for example, on a weekend where you have a Nedbank Cup, they'll make sure that there's no other major event, there's no other game, so that all focus the Nedbank. They obviously have to give, the Nedbank Cup like all the focus and all the mileage that the sponsor can get. So
sure.
I'm thinking it would have that meeting happened on Thursday, the very same day that there was a press conference for the 3 Nedbank semi-finalists, which is Kaizer Chiefs, Sundowns, and Mamelodi Sundowns. And Orlando Pirates. So having an announcement about Royal AM being expelled would have sort of diverted all the
action
focus from
the focus
from the Nedbank and to the Royal AM saga. So I'm thinking they probably wanted to wait until the weekend is over and then come and make the announcement. So possibly in the next few days we will have the official announcement.
Yeah.
I see that more allegations against one of the bidders, Roy Mudley, or Royal Mudley as he went. Apparently he used the police in KZN, according to City Press, allegedly of course, to lock up his detractors. He would lock up businessmen who were against him. He had the prosecutors at the MPA in his back pocket. This is all allegedly, of course, but yeah. So there's no I'm glad to see the PSL ruled him as unfit, and obviously he didn't pay his deposit by the time they needed to. So yeah, but I think he just. But due diligence. Can you imagine that man in charge of a PSL team, and they don't need that sort of publicity right now.
Yeah, is there anything else though, in terms of the sale of this club?
Look, there's nothing on the sale. It will be as though this club never existed. The state has gone. So you can't sell it at this point when they've been expelled, So yeah, it's literally the end of Royal.
So what, they promote 2 teams from Motsepe Foundation? Do they do that?
So what's going to happen is that number 15, because now it turns into a 15-team league. Number 15 goes to play the playoff. Number 1 in Motsepe Foundation automatically gains promotion.
Yeah,
and then 2 and 3 then play the playoff with position 15 in the Betway Premiership, and then whoever wins then becomes the 16th team in the Betway Premiership.
Right.
So that is, and SuperSport United are currently 15th. Oopsie.
Yeah.
So that's not great for Gavin Hunt's going, oopsie, sorry about that.
It is a bit of a oopsie. I know I'm speculating here, but could we see Coach Rulani Mokoena coming home? Because things don't look too rosy at the moment.
It's a story that I've been following very closely, and I can tell you that for sure at the end of the season he will leave Wydad. So what they did was in his contract they inserted a clause that if he fails to finish in the top two, they are able to terminate and sort of part ways at the end of the season, right? Currently he's dead, and they're obviously waiting for the end of the season. Just I think there's 4 games left, and look, he definitely will be coming back home, and very interesting because his former club Orlando Pirates are looking for a head coach.
Correct. That's kind of where I'm going with it, because I'm just like, would he be a fit, and where would he be a fit? Perfect fit, I think, would be at Pirates.
Maybe not perfect fit, obviously, because of you can see the kind of coaches that Pirates love. Jose Rivero, who's seemingly a bit of a private person.
We're laughing here because Mdu, who is like a staunch Pirates fan here in the studio, is like, no.
Yeah, so no, I agree with him. Not a perfect fit for them because, we know the kind of person he is. You look at how Jose Rivero has conducted himself over the, almost 3 years that he's been here. No controversy in his press conferences, no controversy, gives away nothing. You can see that's how Pirates want to do things because they celebrate these things. So Rulani would not be that kind of coach for them. But from a coaching point of view, I think he's got the experience now. He's guided Sundowns in the AFL, in the CAF Champions League. He's gone to Africa to a Wydad, difficult conditions, and I think he's more mature than he was when he was last at Orlando Pirates, and I think he would be a much better coach now than he was back then. But maybe the issue would be that element, how he addresses the media, because you can tell for Pirates it's very, very, very important.
But I'm just like, try some new things,
This is Orlando Pirates.
I know.
They celebrate when the coach says nothing to the media. Unless they are going to tame him. Maybe they could actually look at that, and he would be a perfect fit. And I'm sure for him it would mean a lot, obviously, because of the history of the club and with his family, his aunt, his grandfather, and himself as well. Having also been an assistant coach there and having left under the circumstances he left, I'm sure he would feel he has unfinished business with the club.
Yeah, he's got Pirates DNA in his body, and basically running through him. That's what you need. You need someone who believes in the club, who understands the club, who understands tradition. So maybe that's great. That'd be a perfect fit for them. That for me, it just doesn't. It sounds like a no-brainer.
Going back to Royal AM very quickly, I know that the team is busy dismantling. Players are looking for other clubs. Some have left already. Out of the crop of players there, Mto, how many have been rehomed, if I could put it that way?
Look, I think I know of about 6 that have moved. I think they've moved to. I think there's 3 that have moved to Richards Bay, and then there's another 3 that have moved to Golden Arrows. I think one of them being Fundo Tigazi. We do know Thabo Matlaba as well, the former Orlando Pirates left back, also was seen at Golden Arrows. So maybe he could also be moving to Golden Arrows.
So 6 out of a team of how many players?
Look, they're probably at about 25 players because they've not been able to register new players in the last 2 seasons. Yeah, but I'm sure clubs are obviously looking at ones that they can get. Of course, there is others that were released. Like Hugo Nyame, they terminated his contract. It was a mutual termination. But he hasn't found a club. Mkolisi Matupu as well. He was cleared a few months ago. So I'm sure in the next couple of weeks we'll see them making moves to new clubs.
Mto, thank you so much. Always a pleasure chatting. Mtokozisi Dube there off the Far Post. Can log on and check out their stories and tracking and tracing quite a few of them. But I guess a big shock and an upset for all the Mamelodi Sundowns fans who I think felt that it was a given. Nice to know that 6 out of 25 players have been able to find other clubs to go to. And I hope that the others, find their places of employment as well. I'm sure it's time to check in with SAFBU again to see whether or not these players have been paid.
If they get insurance, if they get backup. I do see parallels between Liverpool's end of the season and Sunderland's end of the season. Are they getting a bit tired? Are they getting a bit leggy?
Yes, they
and
are.
that's what I see Liverpool happen to them. So you're playing so many games and so many different tournaments. You know, can you carry it on? Can you keep the momentum up?
Can you? So close. Please get second wind.
We only need 2 more. So I've just checked. It's 6 points from 6 games.
Yes.
We might be able to do that.
All right. Go Liverpool fans.
Yay, me.
We're back tomorrow.
We are indeed.
Till then.
Back with Mampara of the Week. Oh, what a Mampara, sorry.
Till then, cheerio.
Not the sports news on OmniAudio.Africa. Africa with Romy Titus and Kevin McCallum.